Hello, welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about 10 games that I think you need to watch out for from the Steam Game Festival Spring Edition 2020. Just in case you don't know what the Steam Game Festival is, it's a time where lots of indie games give out lots of demos, and it lasts for, this time it's been 4 days I think. You've had access, I think there's about 40 games, all gave out demos, and then obviously after that you can decide whether you want to wishlist them, play them, whatever you want. But it's a time where, if you think about game events where people go out, they go to each of the game stands and have a try of some exclusive content. This is the indie game version where you can do it from your own home. And I just think it's great. It's accessible to everyone. As long as you've got a Steam account and a PC that works, you can try all these games out. And then you might find something that you would have never have found. So what I've done is I've played 20 demos. I've picked out my favourites, or the ones that I think are going to be ones to watch out for, and I've made a little video about them, summed it up in this little roundup. And finally, before I start, the order of the games that I'm going to be showing you is no particular order. It's just the order that I played them. I did try and rank them, but I couldn't do it. And on a technical note, if any of the games are stuttering in this video, I can only apologise because I had some technical difficulties. If you see that in any of the videos, please don't judge the game on that, just judge my rubbish equipment on that, okay? Because I didn't have any problems that way in any of the games that I played. If you were to play them, it wouldn't look like that. So without any further ado, let's get into my list. So the first game that I want to talk about is Lordwinklebottom Investigations. It is a point and click detective British humour animal investigation game. What I liked about it is that it wasn't perfect. It kept surprising me. It made me laugh a few times. It reminded me very much, it felt nostalgic. That's what I'm trying to say. It felt nostalgic. It reminded me very much of the games when I was younger, and I used to download an hour demo and then never buy the full game and never get to find out what happened. But for this one, I actually would really like to see what happens. And that is not because of what happened in the demo, because actually they didn't really start the murder mystery at all. So I would like to get into that and see what actually happens, because I think it feels very British, and obviously I'm British, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I like detective games, and the puzzles were easy enough that I could figure them out, but they weren't the easiest of the demos that I played. So that's the first one that I would recommend checking out. It's developed by Cave Monsters, and it is due for release in summer 2020. Next up is Monkage, which is developed by Optilusion, and it doesn't have a release date yet. But how I would describe it is like a 3D puzzle game, but not how you would expect. It's very nicely done. Like, out of all the demos, I think it was my favourite in cleverness, if that makes sense. So what it is, you're given this cube, and it just starts out, you've got a little puzzle inside this cube. You've got to start working out, pressing things, moving things. And then the next time you get a new scene, another side of the cube gets revealed into another puzzle. And it's a different scene, but you have to try and match up the scenes and use the movement within the scenes to get onto the next bit. And it's the way that they line up. So say one thing on one scene is a different object in another scene, but they'll line up together and interact to then allow you to move on. There's also a story being told that I'm not sure how in depth that's going to go or anything like that, but there's these collectible photos that you could probably miss, but they're not that hard to find. And overall, it just, to me, felt like a really, really great experience. I really liked it. It's one of the highest recommended ones that I played, to be honest. And that's surprising coming from me, because if you've seen me play anything before with puzzles, I'm not actually usually that good at them. I like them, but I usually have to Google things. But I managed to keep trying, and I did the whole thing without Google, and I felt achieved through it, and it wasn't frustrating, even though there was a couple of times I was thinking this should work here and it wasn't working. There was a reason and it all made sense, and I just highly recommend that one. It's beautifully made. The third game that I want to highlight is Liberated, and it is developed by Atomic Wolf and it is due for release in 2020. First off, not my type of game, but I wanted to include it in this list anyway because it did impress me. Basically, they described it as a playable comic, and yeah, absolutely, totally agree with that, and well done. This is the difference. Like, some of the demos maybe weren't as well done as others, and this one felt like really polished in my opinion. The art style was great, the story was nice, and they specifically said that they'd created the demo to not spoil too much of the story, but it gave you a very good sense of the world that you're going to be following in this story. It's very dystopian, it's very Big Brother, all that kind of sci-fi stuff that is very popular at the minute, and I would like to see where that goes, but I don't personally want to play it just because of the shooting sections, and like it's a bit stealthy, a bit shooting, and that's not for me. I get a bit stressed, but there's a bit of code breaking and stuff like that, a bit of hacking, and I think that could turn out to be a really, really, really good game. Obviously, if it's got an exceptional story, I think that's going to turn out to be an absolutely wicked game. If the story doesn't turn out to be as good, it still might be a good game due to the gameplay and stuff, and just the feel of it. You know, it had a very unique feeling, and I'd advise people just to try it. Like the lighting and just everything about it, it was like really cool, except for it stressed me out. That's the only reason it wouldn't be on my personal list. But I would actually, if you see some of this video and it looks up your street, I would recommend following that one for sure. Next up is a game I was debating whether to put it on here or not, but I decided to anyway, is Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk is basically, it's a visual novel where you are a barista. Is that how you say the word? You make coffee and you listening to the people that come in and talk, and you're listening to their stories, and you like chat away to them. And that's kind of the premise. You make the drinks, but the twist is, in this world, it's like RPG characters in real life. So you've got the different races, you've got the elves and the orcs and stuff like that. So I find the overall idea of that very fascinating. Like, I love it. Kind of feels Wolf Among Us-ish, where basically fairy tale characters, except from these aren't fairy tale characters, it's just the different races and stuff, but it's the same kind of concept in the real world, and I like the idea of listening to the different stories. However, the only reason that it didn't catch my interest so much is that I think the story that they told in the demo wasn't that engaging, so it was a bit, is this game going to be good? Is it not? I don't know. Or is it going to be a lot of little stories that don't really mean anything? Or is it all going to come together? I couldn't tell ya. The game was produced by, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Tog Productions, and it is actually already out now. So if you did try the demo and you wanted to play it, then you can get it straight away. Next on my list is Roki. Roki was brilliant. I really liked it. I got really into it. I got a bit attached. So basically it is an adventure game. I would kind of say point and click, except for you're controlling your character as well, like with the arrow keys. And it is based on like Scandinavian folklore and tales and stuff. And when I think about it, there wasn't actually that much gameplay in the demo. Like that, there wasn't that much story. It was mainly just a kind of one puzzle to solve. But it was it wasn't so straightforward. Like, you had to go one place and then you had to come back. And there was hooks, so you couldn't solve all of the puzzles in the demo. And you could see that there was going to be more to it. And I would be personally very interested in playing the rest of the game. It was very pretty. It was engaging. It did feel adventurous. It felt wondrous. Is that the word? It just made me want to keep playing. It brought me joy. So it was one of my top games, actually. I would like to play it in the future. Roki is developed by Polygon Treehouse and is due to come out sometime in 2020. Not sure when. Next up is A Space for the Unbound. It is developed by, again, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but Mojiken Studio, and it's just coming soon. I don't have a date, but it is, again, another point and click type story, and I'd already read before I played it, like I thought I'd read a lot of negative feedback about it, but I played it anyway because I'd seen the description and I thought it sounded interesting. And I'm glad that I did play it because I personally really liked it. It was very simplistic, and as much as it was point and click, it felt more linear than that, and it was very easy. It was more just giving you something to do to continue the story rather than having any puzzles or anything like that. That's how it felt to me. But that was okay by me. I suppose there is a bit of a twist at the end. Maybe that's where the negativity came from. But I'm not going to talk about what the twist was here. And I feel like I don't think it will change the way the game plays or anything. I still want to... I feel like that drives the game forward. So personally, I want to see where it goes. It's another one that I would like to play fully. And it is on my wish list. Another adventure game that I really enjoyed was Hazel Sky. It's developed by Coffee Addict Studio and it's coming in 2020. I guess just all of these games are mainly coming in 2020, but without an actual date. So Hazel Sky, again, had the same kind of point and click feels, but it wasn't. But you could, pick things up, solve puzzles and stuff. But it was all 3D. It felt most like Roki, I would say, rather than point and click. But it was very different to Roki at the same time. It's a different kind of... where Roki was fixed camera angles, this was free camera, third person, fully third person actually. It was a bit of a struggle for my computer, I think, to be honest. But it was gorgeous as well. There was a lot of lore and a lot of world building, but a lot of the world building and lore were in reading, and so there was like notes and books and stuff like that hanging around. To be fair, some of it was voice acted to you as well. So there was a letter that you could read and that was voice acted to you. So it's not all reading. But if you want more of the background of the story, there were some history books lying around, and I would actually recommend reading them because they were very interesting. And I love the conflict that was set up. It was set in this, again, I want to say dystopian. I don't know if dystopian's the right word, but it gave me Snowpiercer vibes. It's totally not like Snowpiercer at all, but it gave me Snowpiercer vibes. That's how I would kind of explain the world building anyway. I'm struggling to find a balance between how much to say without spoiling anything and trying to build the intrigue at the same time. Basically, the concept is between the engineers and the artists, two different type of people at some kind of disagreement in the world, and it's all revolved around that. And you are an engineer and you are sent to this island for this test because the city that you live in is a floating city. I guess BioShock Infinite vibes, but not. Again, not. And you have to find your way back, and that proves that you're a true engineer. But then I guess the question is going to be, do you really want to be an engineer? Do you like what's right, what's wrong? And we never made it. So the rest of the game is going to be, I don't know, but I want to know. Like, I want to play this one. I think I'd like this one better on console though. Just purely because of the controls and me not being so great on a PC. Superluminal is my next game, and it's one that I nearly didn't try. In fact, these next three are ones that I nearly didn't try. These were on my maybe list, and I'm so glad that I did try them because they've actually made it into kind of my top 10. So it's a puzzle game and it plays on perspective. But what I want to recommend instantly is don't watch the trailer, because I played it. I kind of watched a bit of a trailer a long time ago and I can't remember what it was about. So then when I've played it this time, it felt blind and I didn't have any of the puzzles spoiled for me or the mechanics. And when I figured out how to work the mechanics, I felt really clever. Whereas if you watch the trailers, it instantly tells you how to use the mechanics and it instantly solves one of the puzzles that I felt the smartest figuring out myself. So I'd say avoid the trailer. And I think it's super cool concept. Again, all about perception. It feels like if you've ever been in some kind of fun house where there is optical illusions and stuff, it's that kind of thing. It's a bit trippy. At times I felt like it was going to get a bit spooky, but I don't know how real that is. Maybe it won't, I don't know. It was also going a lot on the concept of dreams, which is another thing that intrigues me. So it's another tick in my box. And I think it's worth trying. I really do. And I think it could end up being a quite cool game. Just depends where they go with it, I think is a question. Like, I'm not sure where they could go with it. Is it going to have a story? Is it not? Because as you were going along, you could find these audio recordings that you could listen to. It sounded like David Tennant. I don't know if it is him or not, but he was talking about dreams and there was some warnings and it feels like there is an overall narrative. And if it's one of those ones that has a really cool conclusion, then I would absolutely love to play it. But how do you know unless you play it? So I think that is definitely one to watch. It's developed by Pillow Castle and is due to release in November. So yeah, I'm watching out for that. Ember, another one that I nearly didn't play, but I'm glad that I did. It's developed by Muse Games. It's due for release 2020 is all I know. And it's got like so much potential, but I don't know how much of this I'm just projecting onto it. So basically what it is, you are a firefighter. You get to choose your loadout as you go into these buildings and complete these jobs, and you've got to save the people and you've got to find the cash, you've got to get them out, but you've got different types of tools. You've got an axe so you can break down doors, you've got a water gun, a hose, and like you can choose what type of stream. You can do a more direct stream or like a wider one. You've got a water grenade and you've got to manage your water. You've got a health bar which you can die, and you can refill your water if you find a sink in the house. And basically you've got this smartphone where you can kind of identify whereabouts the people are in the house. And it's up to you to kind of navigate the different obstacles in the house. It's not just like fire sim. It's like crazy arcade game type, but in a good way. It's all 3D, it's first person, which personally I would rather a third person, but that is just personal. And there is also a multiplayer mode. This is where it gets interesting for me because I only played single player mode and I enjoyed it, but it was something where I'm like, I'm not going to buy it, but I love the concept. However, multiplayer mode, like I said, I didn't try it, but if they can pull off something like Overcooked, it could be like amazing. I think it seemed like the multiplayer was all online, but if they could do local split screen on consoles as well, that is a market that is desperately needing some more games. And if they did that, I would be absolutely buzzing, because as sad as it is, me and my mum play Overcooked and we have the best time, and we shout at each other and we scream at each other and we set the place on fire. And I can think of no better way to play this game, where we're going into a burning house, rescuing people, rescuing idiots, is by going in and screaming at each other and shouting and solving the puzzles. And we'll be like, there's a guy upstairs, and we'll be like, oh my god, I'm dying, and we can rescue each other. And just, I think that's how I want to play this game. Like, it makes me really excited talking about it, just because of the good experiences that we've had playing Overcooked. I think that there's something there that they like could properly capitalize on and become a leading game like Overcooked did in the local co-op. However, I don't know if that's where they're going to go or not. That's just me projecting. But that's why I would say definitely watch out for Ember. The final game that I played, it's actually the last one. I did have 3 more to play, but I ran out of time. And this is Chicory, A Colourful Tale, which I almost literally didn't play, but I got it recommended to me, and I'm so glad that I did play it. It's developed by Greg Lobanov, and there is no date. It's a Kickstarter project, so I don't know if they've reached their funds or what. I didn't look that much into it. But basically what it is an adventure game where you can kind of paint the world that you're in. And when you paint it, it interacts with the environment sometimes. So say there's a bit of platforming, certain plants, if you've got paint on them, they'll grow. And if they don't, they'll shrink. And you need to shrink them so that you can get through places, or grow them so you can walk across them. Sounds quite simple, but it actually works really well, especially just based on the size of the levels that I got to play anyway, because it started off in a village type thing, and you can go around talking to people, all typical adventure stuff, but very charming as well. You can go around just painting things if you want. You can find the collectibles, you can chat to the people. In the collectibles you'll find litter, and you'll also find different clothes. You can design your own clothes. And then you can explore further and find hidden little areas. There's caves, and then obviously there's the story progression, which you can also do. There's definitely little side quests, because I didn't manage to finish it, but I finished the demo before I finished the side quest. So there are little side quests as well. I think it's impressive. I think it's going to be a really good game. Finally, when I did finish continuing the story, I got to a boss fight, and it was really intense. It was so unexpected, because at first I thought this was going to be quite a kids game, which I thought it was doing a great job at, because it's like a lovely little adventure game for kids where you get to colour in and you get to talk to the villagers. And then I found the boss fight genuinely scary. Probably kids aren't going to find it scary, it's just me, but it was unexpected, and it incorporates the painting mechanics in really well. So I kind of described it when I was playing it as kind of, think of a rhythm game, kind of, but then think of them games where there's things flying around and you've got to avoid them, that kind of thing, while you're also trying to kill the thing with your paint. It's there's a lot to focus on, because you're moving your character with one hand and you're using your paintbrush with the other hand. And it's just, it works. I'm not selling this very well at all, but it works. It's got really nice vibes, and then intense vibes as well. And I'm not sure that I'm personally going to play it, just because the boss fights aren't my thing. I don't really like combat, but for anyone that doesn't mind that kind of thing and enjoys a little adventure and enjoys the nice side and the intense side, I think it's it was so well put together, and it played nicely, and I think it feels like a really good indie game, a really polished, nice game that I feel deserves the attention. So that's Chicory, A Colourful Tale. Again, recommended. And that's my whole list. You can check out all of the games that I played in the following days. I'm going to be uploading the videos. You can see my first-hand reactions while I was playing them, and also just the mechanics and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for them. Some other little recommendations. Neon Noodles was really cool. It was just too mind-blogging for me. It's that kind of game that you play at school to help you learn something. Curious Expedition 2 was a board game. Also Sons of Ra was really cool. Just so many cool games, and I just recommend for the next one, I guess they're going to do one in summer, because it seems like it's going to be a seasonal thing. For the next one, just have a look through the list of games that they put out, and then if anything takes your fancy, just try it, because most of them only last for half an hour, and it's such a nice experience, and it's good for the developers as well, because they don't get the exposure that a lot of AAA games get. But the games can be just as good sometimes, like maybe not as big, but for the experience that you can have, like it's so worth investing the time into the indie genre as well. And I'm so glad that I'm finally discovering it. So what games did you play? Like, please let me know. Did you play any games? What games did you like? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Like, do you have any indie recommendations that you think that I would like based on my recommendations? Anything like that. And I'm like totally open to having a conversation. I like to be educated because I really love the game industry, and especially in these crazy times, I feel like not just the game industry, but the gaming communities are all coming together, and I just love being a part of it. Before I go, I just want to thank Jacob McCart from the Left Behind Game Club, shout out, because he gave me the idea to actually do these videos. It's really been helpful in this crazy time. Like, it's given me something to focus on. I didn't actually intend, I basically spent a full working week, like, where I should have been finding work making these videos. But to be honest, I don't know how well I would have concentrated on that anyway. And actually having to talk and play the games and focus my mind on something, I think has really helped me get through these last few days. Because like, I, as a lot of other people are as well, are doing some social isolating. And obviously a lot of countries are going through it pretty bad, and I know that we've got it to come. I'm glad that I've had something else to focus on, and I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for that recommendation. So I also really want to recommend them. So they run the podcast Left Behind Game Club, and it's just basically, it's like a game club, it's like a book club but for games. They choose a game, they talk about it, and it's very lighthearted and very entertaining, and they just have a laugh, but as well there's a lot of like useful information in it. So it's not just shit talk, excuse my language because I know that they don't swear very much, but it's not just shit talk, it's like good engaging conversation while also being really entertaining. So especially in these times, if you've got loads of time to kill and if you're bored or whatever, like definitely, not even if you're not bored, even in your regular life, just check out the Left Behind Game Club, because it's good to keep you company while you're on your day-to-day life. Just shove your headphones in and have a listen, and you might get addicted. And that is it. I'm hoping to get my PS Plus videos up to date soon, but I've been focused so much on this at the moment that I haven't had any time. Before that, my life went to pot like last month. Like, it's been ridiculous. I've had some like a really bad time. So I'm just trying to get past that now. And to top that off, I've got a bad throat, so now I'm a bit worried in case I've caught the virus. But hopefully in the meantime, between these videos coming out, I will get some PS Plus updates out as well, and then get all up to date, and then I can actually start looking for some paid work, because I'm also a bit stuck there too. What is life? But I'm sure you all can relate. We're all going through it together. So I just want to close out by saying, stay safe, wash your hands, stay at home, please stay at home, and look out for yourself, look out for your family, look out for all the people that can't look out for themselves. It's really important. Stay hygienic and stay safe.